Welcome to our commercial advertising photography class. I'm glad you've joined us. Due to the convenience and stability of the Studio Flash, it has become an optimal lighting equipment in the studio most of the time. In this class, we will focus on the function of the Studio Flash and its operation. First, let's talk about the important details. During the operation, we need to develop a habit of focusing on details, no matter what kind of lamps you use, high-end or low-end. It's crucial in shooting to always use lighting equipment properly. This is one of the most effective ways for photographer assistants to become photographers. Let's think from a different perspective, by putting yourself in the position of the boss. Actually, whether you are a boss spending money to hire a photographer or working as a photographer for someone else, focusing on details is always essential. This not only saves money and efforts for yourself, but also for the boss, so that as a photographer you can get greater rewards. Here are a few details to mention. The first one is the management of power cords. Power cords transmit electricity to our flashes. If we neglect them, they can become a tangled mess after each shoot, which can greatly shorten their useful life. Therefore, it's essential to neatly store and organize the power cords before and after each shoot. Secondly, our lighting equipment contains capacitors, so we need to maintain their power switches properly. It's recommended to have at least a 15-minute interval between turning on and off the equipment. This helps with the maintenance and extend the lifespan of the lighting equipment. The third aspect is the opening and closing of the light stand and the orientation of the light head. Typically, our light stands have 3 legs that firmly anchor to the ground, and the position of the light head should align with the legs. For instance, when shooting, if we position the light stand towards an open space and then raise the light to a considerable height, especially when using softboxes in front, the light stand will be prone to tipping over. This poses a significant threat to our lighting setup. Therefore, it's essential to develop a good habit of positioning the light head towards the light stand. This way, even if the light is raised to a high position, it will be less likely to tip over due to heavier accessories such as softboxes. This ensures much better stability, making it less likely to cause any accidents due to negligence. This covers some of the considerations when using light stands and the details that we should be mindful of. Now, let's talk about the buttons and functions. We will use the light of Jinbei, a domestic brand, as an example. We often have a consumer mentality, that is to say, we often want to know and use all the functions of a product, especially when it is expensive and important to us. In the case of lighting equipment, we, as photographers, must keep in mind that no matter how many functions the lighting has or how good the lighting is, its purpose is to serve us photographers. So for photography, we should use it to its best effect, rather than trying to use all its functions. This button appears both on the trigger and on the light. When I turn on the light and press the test button on the trigger, the flash will be fired synchronously. There is usually a lightning symbol on the flash unit, which represents the test button. When we press the test button, the flash will be fired. For imported lighting equipment, this symbol may also be represented by the English word test. This is the first button we need to be familiar with. The second one is flash trigger. Just now, I used the trigger to fire the flash. The flash trigger consists of 2 parts, the transmitter and the receiver. By pressing the test button on the transmitter, the flash can be synchronously fired. When using the transmitter, it's essential to ensure that the channel of the transmitter matches that of the receiver. There are various types of flash triggers. For example, the imported Hensel flash trigger kit I have in my hand, it only has 3 channels, while the Jinbei flash trigger here can be adjusted both upward and downward, with 4 groups that allow for 16 different combinations. In other words, it provides us with 16 channels to choose from. With multiple channels available, when we have a series of studios, We can set different channels for each studio to ensure that they won't interfere with each other. This is a very convenient design for the commercial photography. Apart from the remote control trigger, there is another method of flash triggering that can be done without using remote control, which is called optical slave. It is a form of wireless triggering where one flash can trigger another flash in sync that is equipped with a compatible optical sensor in the same channel. To demonstrate this, I can pull out the plug of the flash trigger and try to trigger it again. In this situation, we can see that it still fires. This happens because there is another concept related to flash triggering called optical slave, which means one flash can be triggered in sync by the light of another flash. There is a button on the light with an icon resembling an eye, and it indicates optical slave mode. If we turn off this mode and pull out the plug, then when we try to trigger the flash, it won't fire. Okay, we can see that there is no flash on my hand, which means it's not activated. And it didn't fire flash. This shows the difference between remote control trigger and optical slaves. We can synchronize flashes either through remote control trigger or optical slave. Now let's reconnect the plug. When we have the flash trigger, we can easily connect the light and the camera. I plug the trigger into the hot shoe on the top of the camera, which is designed specifically for this type of trigger. After installing the trigger and selecting appropriate settings, we can now trigger the flash by pressing the camera shutter. After the flash trigger, let's now talk about the large knob on the flash unit. This large knob is used to adjust the power output. By turning this knob, we can get different flash intensities. In addition to power adjustment, there is also a control for the modeling light. Let's turn off the modeling light and then turn it back on. By doing so, we can observe the changes of lighting effects for photography. It's important to note that the modeling light and the flash do not affect each other. So even if I turn off the modeling light, I can still trigger the flash by pressing the test button. Let's turn off the modeling light. And as you can see, the flash still fires. Apart from these buttons, there are also some other buttons like the sound button in the functional button area at the back of the flash unit. After going through all the introductions, let's review the key points. First is the test button, followed by remote control trigger and optical slave trigger. Then there is the knob for adjusting the light output and the modeling light switch. These 4 buttons and knobs are the main functions to remember for this flash unit. Once you have these 4 functions in mind, you will naturally master the flash unit with ease. When evaluating a flash unit, an important parameter to consider is the flash duration, which is a significant feature of the lighting equipment. It is particularly important when capturing images of fast-moving objects, such as in shooting footwear products, where models perform dynamic jumps, or capturing the impact of water splashing, in fruit, vegetables, or cosmetic photography. High-speed flash is used to capture these moments effectively. The speed of high-speed flash is determined by the flash duration, which refers to the duration of each flash, a very short span of time from illuminating to extinguishing. The fastest flash duration can be as short as 1/25,000th seconds. In comparison, the flash duration of common flash units ranging from a 400th to an 800th second. When choosing a flash unit, if the user manual or product description does not mention this feature, then the equipment may lack capabilities of high-speed sync flash. Let's compare the Profoto B1, which has short flash duration and supports high-speed flash, with regular flash units like the Jinbei Spark, which has a longer flash duration. We will use the example of capturing a rapidly swinging ball to illustrate the difference. Now, let's take a look at the Profoto B's effect of short flash duration on capturing fast-moving subjects. Through the continuous shooting with the Profoto B1, we can see that the entire sphere's motion was frozen and captured in the frame. Zooming in, we could see that the image was sharp and well-defined. Now, for comparison, let's take a look at the effect of the Jinbei Spark, which does not support high-speed flash. Okay, let's see the results with the Jinbei Spark. Okay, let's see. When using the Jinbei Spark, without high-speed flash, there is noticeable motion blur at the back of the product. Let's zoom in to see the photo. And we could notice some blurring behind the sphere. Let's compare the two images to show the difference. Through comparison, we can clearly see that, when capturing objects swinging at certain angles, a flash unit with short flash duration can effectively freeze the subject in mid-air. On the other hand, for lighting equipment lacking high-speed sync, there could be severe motion blur. This demonstrates the importance of short flash duration in using flash units. Now, let's briefly review the content I shared with you today. In this lesson, we learned about the details of using lighting equipment, the most commonly used buttons and functions, as well as the important flash duration. Hope this class will help enhance your knowledge of lighting.